Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box with the Technical Trader at TheTechTrader.com. It's Saturday, March the 23rd. This is the weekend webinar, and obviously an eventful week with the market making new all-time highs across the board on lots of different indices and many stocks, multi-year and all-time highs as well. But there's always the fly in the ointment. And anyway, at this point, we're seeing that the S&P popped out Wednesday and Thursday, made a new high, got all the way up to a new high at 52.61, and then backed off just a little bit. But you can see the trend tells me this is going to 5,400, maybe more, before it's over. Now we'll see. The Nasdaq 100, similar, but didn't quite make it. Just made a nominal new high at 18,464 and finished not too far off of that. It was the only index that was actually up just a small fraction of 0.1% on Friday. You can see that the pattern that had developed appeared to have been a coil. It popped out and it stalled right there. Your next target, 19,000. No kidding. The key support in this now, NDX, is about 17.8. We'll see if that holds. There's a trend line, lateral price resistance, and a 50-day moving average, all in that same zone. So that's an area you want to see hold, ideally. About 550 points from here. The small caps, IWM index that I follow, backed off on Friday, was down about 1.35%. So that was a kind of a negative divergence on that indice. But they have been very strong the prior 3 days. The Dow Jones 20 is up against resistance. So you look at the overall pattern, it was a V bottom in October, a wonderful multi-wave run up. And then, since December, matter of fact, all year for 2024, we haven't done much except for recently in the last 4 days, market and the transportation index has gone from 15.4 16.2, 800 points in a week. Very nice. There is resistance right there at 16.275 roughly. But the overall pattern is a V bottom with a platform, and it looks bullish. So we'll see if that is able to break out and confirm the other indices, which right now is trailing. And Dow theory forecasts transportation index have to confirm the industrials, and that's old school, but that's what that says. Looking at the underlying technicals. McClellan oscillator, because advanced declines and up-down volume weren't that strong, finally made it up to plus 100, 108, but you can see 3 times in the last month and a half it's reached that level, unable to get through. It's also a declining tops line, so there's double resistance there. If the market can, in the terms of the T2106, which is the TC2000 designate for McClellan oscillator, if that gets through there, then we have a run probably into the 180-200 range. But for now, Friday was a negative day for that index as it dropped from 92 down to 18, close 22 down 67. Pretty big drop for that index in 1 day. So we'll see if it's meaningful or not. It's a very volatile index and it's not as significant in terms of where it is, but the direction it's going. The percentage of stocks above their 40-day moving average is about 61. So 3 out of 5 stocks are moving above their 40-day, while the rest aren't. And there's also a wedge pattern that is formed in here that we need to get to. There's major resistance ahead around 79.80. Some of the major ETFs we follow are the semiconductors. Obviously have a field day. Just since the end of October, it has gone from 136, spiked up a couple weeks ago to 239 for more than 100 points. Came down in the flag and popped on Thursday. A little quiet day on Friday, but you can see that if this does extend, 255, 58, 60 up in that range could be a target. Financials also strong. And you can see that since November, this has gone late October, 48.75 to 111, almost 112. Not quite tripled, but hell of a move since just a 6-month period. Friday was not a good day for it as it came down after making a nominal new high at 112.10 and closing 5 points off of that. Down 389 or 3.5%. Might be a reversal day for financials. We'll just have to see. Right now, as semiconductors are strong, financials were strong until Friday, and biotechs in particular, which had led, are not doing well of late. If you take a look at this XBI, which made a high back in February, and now in the last month, has come down. Yes, in an orderly fashion, and yes, still above the trend line. But I'll tell you what, XPI takes out 92. There's a problem. We're probably headed to 86.7 or worse. So I need this to hold here, as it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth wave can explode the biotechs into the 1, 10, 12 zone for XPI. Those of you who follow LABU, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. That has to hold about 122. Targets 175 and then 225 if the market goes in a blow-up stage. We'll see. So that covers the three majors. Now let's take a look at some of the components. When I say three major ETFs for the groups that I follow. Here's Apple. Apple's come down a nasty little 1, 2, 3, 4, and it may be a truncated fifth. We'll see. But the bottom line is you cannot let Apple go underneath 1656. It could drop it down to 160 pretty quickly. If we get that, it won't be good, folks. It won't be good. Amazon, beautiful rising pattern, made a new multi-year high at 181.41. Not quite an all-time high. That would have to take out the 187.88 area. Nevertheless, massive move in the last year and a half has taken this one from 82 to 180 roughly, so almost 100 points. And that includes a split in there. Google, big snapback from a falling channel. As you can see, after gapping a week ago, it's held in this area and kind of flagging in here. So let's step back a little. Redraw your trend line. And that's what it looks much more parallel. I would say Google's target right now is going to be 162.3. Obviously, you got to take out the high first. And that comes in about 155. You get above that, and then it's blow-off time for the market, and Google in particular. Microsoft made a nominal new all-time high on Friday, taking 431.61, finishing 3 points off the high, but in a phenomenal long-term rising channel. The intermediate channel rise from the September-October low has a target of 458.60. Netflix been quite strong of late, making new highs, reaching 634. Now the all-time high is 700 and change, so we still have room to run. And the top of the intermediate channel says we might test that. Meta, also in a very strong configuration since its earnings report a couple months ago. The stock has been a rising angle, with a few days in between, of course. That's what it looks like right now. You can see the rising angle, recently coming out of a wedge, holding up nicely, target 540. NVIDIA, monster of the midway. Indeed. Closing at 940 up 25.85. It's the highest close in its history. Yeah, I know we made a higher high, but that day was a big reversal. Since then, it consolidated and it's moving back up again. My target's 1,075 going forward. And Tesla, which has been very weak, certainly it kept weak. Although it did bounce early in the week. This is a nasty looking chart, folks. I would avoid Tesla until I see a move over at least 184.5. For now, though, it's dangerous down to 150 or less. Some of the ETFs we follow closely, gold, you can see that the GLD has done very well, but the other ETFs have not. There's the GDX, JNUG, and Nugget, which I follow closely. All of them need to break out above the weekly high. Resistance on Nugget is 32.75. Resistance on JNUG is 32. And GDX resistance from Thursday's high is about 30.75, 31. So watch for those The breakout, I was very pleased to see the run up to resistance. The moving averages crossing over, and now they're consolidating. Usually an indication of a stock or an index that wants to go higher. So we're watching gold closely. Silver, similar, actually a little bit better because the pullback on the SLB in particular wasn't as bad. AGQ is the one I follow closely. You can see there's a lot of resistance to get through at 32. If it does that, significant move. Oil and gas, look at the GUSH. Been a steady rise for about a month now, 2 months. Having gone from under 28 to nearly 40. And your resistance to target is 43. The other ETFs we follow closely for oil, UCO and USO. This is USO up against resistance. Look, it's a more bullish trend than it has been. I'm still not convinced. I don't like the technicals. So I may be wrong on a certain individual oil stocks that are perking up. And energy that has had a few good days. I'm not convinced. It's just like I'm not convinced in gold either. Not yet. Okay, so that covers most of the ETFs we follow. Let's go to a bunch of longs that look very good to me. Marijuana has come to the forefront. Look at the movement ACB, CGC, and the marijuana ETFs MJ. Excuse me. You can see that, and MSOS. Those are the four I'd be following closely if I were you, as well as MSOX. There you go. For me, the strongest one in that group is MJ. In terms of the ETFs, it just broke out Friday to the highest level since September. I'm looking for a move to 4 3/4, 5. And then CGC, maybe a little bit overbought short term at resistance. But boy, I'll tell you what, momentum is strong in this one. And Aurora is also quite strong. It's had a big move of late. Pop, wedge, and pop. Moving on, little ACTG has woken up. This long base, going back a year and a half, broke out with a thrust, a breakaway gap, and a strong run up. Friday was a bullish engulfing day. I can see the stock making a move towards the 7.5 range. ADMA, junior biotechs are powerful. This one in particular, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up and still running, targeting 7 and 9. AEO, one of the stronger retailers, has gone from the June low of last year, which had it down at 1036, to more than 25. That's about 150% run, and it doesn't look done to me. 30 target. AEYE with a sudden strong surge in the last 5-6 weeks has taken it from 4.5 to over 11. The target is 13.5. ALAR, nice trend, accelerated, and now in a rising channel. I think we can get to 30.31. Alpine, another strong biotech stock that's run from under 9 to over 40. That's a quadruple, and it doesn't look done either. I'm looking for high 40s. AMTX exploded last week, just about every day, taking it from 2 3/4 to Friday's high of over 7, nearly a triple in just a week. The key is technically it took out everything and then backed off. My target for an extension is 9. ANF, one of the stronger retailers out there. Look at this chart, folks. October of 22, the stock was 14. Recently reached as high as a new all-time high at 140. So 14 to 140, any way you look at it, that's tenfold. And yet, do you see a top here? Yeah, there's some down volume in this range, so it could be a short or stop under 119, but the target is 155. NNX, a beautiful rising channel, stair-stepping its way higher. Next target appears to be a run at 765 or so. You get through that, 9. APGE with an explosive pop and a flag tells me it's not done yet. I got a target of 80. APP broke out. We put a swing on it. It's been moving steadily and nicely higher. Current target is 79. Arlo comes out of a base, forms a little wedge, and pops. Reversed on Friday, though, so watch it. But I like this look. And you can see this pop takes it out through a double top and out of a big base, which can really have a positive effect on a long-term trend. Next target, mid-teens. Actinium, after breaking out and pulling back slowly, held the price support, moving average, etc. What a surge back. 616 to 986, more than 50% in a week. It's at resistance, so it may need to back off, but it does look like it wants to move higher. AU, my favorite gold stock, base, breakout, rebound, a retest, and then a rebound. This needs to be over 2180 to get going. Targets 23 and 25.5, and then beyond. AXTI breaks out of a base with a major breakaway gap on volume, settles into a coil, and now it's popped from about 430 to 564. My target is 6.5. BAND, nice base, breakaway gap, and now a beautiful bull wedge or coil. You don't want it underneath 17.5, but you want to see 22, 25, and 28 going forward. BDX, Black Diamond, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave is underway, which could accelerate and extend to 7, 7.5. Biohaven broke out in September with a breakaway gap and has been channeling ever since. Currently, it's in a beautiful coil. If it breaks out of that, I'm pretty sure we're going to see 70. Bluebird broke out of here, wedge there, ran up and down. An ascending bull wedge broke out. Very nice chart, looking for 42.3. BRBR has been in a phenomenal rising channel since it was in the low 20s, now in the low 60s, tripled, and yet don't see a high to you. 68.9 target. CAMT has run along with the semiconductors. This one's gone from the low 20s to 90 to the low 90s. No, I'm wrong. 89.50 was a high. It's consolidating and now breaking back out again. Targets going forward 99 to 100. Kava, the restaurant chain, broke out, coiled, and broke out again. It's been in a rising channel for about 4 months to a new all-time high at 69.69 tag Friday. I'm not sure how much further it's got, but target would be mid-70s. CDLX, long-term, there's an inverse head and shoulder breakout, then a retest of their neck shoulder line, then a breakaway gap, and a rising pattern. I think it retests 19.5. Seiko Environmental, beautiful rising channel, first at the top of the range, then at the bottom of the range, but you can see either way, the stock has a wedge forming that could pop and get to 27. We mentioned CGC earlier. Cognite has been on my list since it broke out here back in April of last year. From that level of 4, it's gone up and doubled to 8. It's now flagging in here. Next target is 9.5. CLBT, beautiful rising channel, broke to the upside, now it's coiling. If it pops again, 13.5 target. CLRB, broke out and is platforming. I just like the look of this for a move higher. It's got energy, and I think the target is 6. CLS has been a monster and has moved from the May low in the 1070 range to nearly 50. 49.35 was tagged. My next target is 55 and 60. In the crypto world, CLSK has been huge, and this move from here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think a fifth wave. If crypto extends a little bit more, you might see 30 and 35 in this one. This could be big. Keep an eye on it. On blow-off time. CNTA, I haven't featured it much, but I didn't want to ignore this flag that just broke out. Right now, it's looking like this is going to 15, 16. COH shows a tech trader swing when it broke out, and meanwhile, it's stair-stepping itself higher. And currently breaking out of a falling little flag. Right there. Targeting 75 and 85. CONL, that's a tracking stock for Coinbase, fabulous. And should he get above Thursday's high, above 83.5, you might see 100. Koya, beautiful little low-price biotech that I've been all over it for the last 8 or 9 months, from the 3-4 zone all the way back up to 10, almost 11. Friday was a beautiful reversal day, going from 9.5 to 10.69 and closing there. This is resistance. Your next target is 13 and 15. Cardiff spiked on volume and kept running, formed a little wedge and popped out Friday. My target, 7.5. Credo, beautiful rising channel, a little choppy. The falling wedge got to support and bounced sharply this week. My targets at 24 and 26. CRNT is a beautiful little low price stock with a beautiful channel. I'm looking for more. 3 3/4 and 4.5 are next. CRNX, breakaway, flag, breakout, and rising channel. Then a falling flag and a pop, and a little wedgie. Next target, 50. Carvana, been phenomenal all year. Ever since it hit $4 last December, it's gone in 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's one more wave left. They could take this towards 120. Dave broke out of a base and is continuing to run. It looks fabulous. Just noticed it this weekend. My target at 55, 58. Dell was a tick traded swing when it broke out back in September, and then it moved slowly and then accelerated. Falling wedge tells me if it holds here, which it looks like it's going to, I'll look back at 130 as your next target again. DraftKings broke out this week out of a 2-month consolidation. I really like the look of this. I think we're headed to 52.3 and maybe 62.3. DYN broke out of a base wedge pop, flag pop, another ascending bull pennant or flag, coil, whatever you want to call it, targeting 35. EGY, this is a low-priced oil that had a nice run, came down and based out and broke out with a breakaway move. EH. Well, EHang has had a big explosive move through the declining top line of moving average and is stalled here in flagging. Should this one get above 20, you could see 23, 25 pretty quickly. ELEV with an explosive move, and I mean big move from January, then a 6-8 week flag, then another pop, and now another flag or coil. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave could be explosive. I'm looking for a move to 7 and 9. No kidding. EOLS, same here. Rising channel, consolidating, looks ready for the pop. If it does, 15 and 17 targets. 16 and 18 targets. ERJ has been phenomenal of late as it moved out of a consolidation zone from 17 and spiked 10 points to 27.50. Friday was a big day for it. I don't think it's done yet. This is new multi-year high territory. Might accelerate a little bit, but also could need the rest though. EVER's beautiful rising channel comes out of the base, retests, and runs up, double tops and pulls back. I don't think it's done yet. I think it's consolidating in a wedge. Your next target is mid-20s. FDMT, big breakaway gap followed by a coil, followed by a breakout. Watch this level above 35.5, 40, 243, and 50 or better might be targets. Freeport, fresh bet, pop coil, pop long coil, and pop coil again. If that breaks out here, we're looking for 125. This one looks powerful. FTAI, talk about powerful. How about a stock that's moved steadily for a year and a half from 15 to 65 and doesn't look done yet, although it is short-term overbought. FTI. Long 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave is underway with a 1, 2, 3. We may extend this one to 4 and 5 and get up to the high 20s. GANX, big engulfing reversal day on Friday. After making a low below support, it held and turned. I'm hearing big things in this stock long term. My near-term targets are 5.5 and 6.5. GEO, which is a tech trader swing since September when it broke out of this base, has just kept running in a rising channel. It's taken it from 8 to almost 15. My target is 18. GNK in the shipping group, a rising channel, tells me this isn't done yet. 23 is your target. GPS tech trader swing popped out and just kept going. Right now, a couple targets have been met, but my next target is 34.5. HEAR popped, and we put a swing on it and just kept running. Although it did have a reversal day Friday, it may be short-term extended, but eventually low to mid-20s may be doable. HIMS, breakout, breakaway gap, and rising channel. We'll see how far they take this one. The major target would be a retest of mid-20s. HRTX exploded off its low. It's been in a rising channel ever since. Then popped out and now it's flagging right there. Next target is 4 and 5. IDN, massive explosive day on Friday. 14 million shares is record volume for the stock. For that to go up 90% in one day on 14 million is a major breakaway move for this stock. And now looking for 5 and 6. INFA, beautiful rising channel for like almost a year now, with a target now an extension to 40, 41. IoT, Internet of Things, has been on my list for a long time, multi-months. Breaking out and pulling back. Obviously, resistance right now in the 40.5 range, but if we get through that, mid-40s is the target. I advanced with a massive 1, 2, 3, 4 has come out of its falling wedge. I think it accelerates to get to 18, 19. Jemiah popped wedge and popped again, formed another coil, but started to break down this week. It was down every day this week, always a concern, and it is below initial support, so careful with this one. Kura, this biotech has run nicely from the little coil, popped again, made a nominal high but backed off. I don't think it's done yet. 27 and 31 are targets. LFMD in a beautiful rising channel. It has been for almost a year. It's seen this stock go from a low of 115 to 1170. That's a tenfold increase, and yet I see higher levels, perhaps 18. LSF, that's layered superfoods with a big explosive move and now wedge. This could be very explosive. Wouldn't be shocked to see 4.5 and 6. LTRN exploded, wedge, popped, pulled back, and then popped again. We get through the double top resistance. I don't have 10 3/4. This might be 12 3/4, 13 pretty quickly. Lunar had that massive move. And saw it go from the January low around 2, exploding on that lunar landing, 1325, before pulling back hard. Now it's got a little rounding bottom after holding support in there. It might move back up again. Your first targets are the gap at 590. Sorry, 790, 760, and then 9. Micron, MJ, we showed you that. ML, this is a fairly new swing I put out, but Friday was a huge day for it as it ran up $8 and broke out of this wedge. All I need now is for it to take out those highs above 75, 76, above 76, this runs. Targets are 90 and 110. MNMD with a pop, wedge, and pop. This one looks like it has some real momentum. Target now 14, 15 zone. MRVI base, breakaway gap, wedge, and pop on Friday. Target 11.5. MTRX, long-term channel. Current action and pop coil, pop flag, right near support. They move over 13 3/4, gets me to 15 3/4. Micron had that big breakaway move. And this is if not all-time highs. I think it's all-time. Yep, all-time highs on Micron, which tells me that blue skies gets me some more. 140. Nanox. This one worries me. I love that pop, falling wedge pop, and consolidation wedge, but big reversal after breaking out Thursday, getting up to 1228. By Friday, it was 9.5 again. You cannot let this go below 9, period. NOTV, Notive, breaks out into the gap. Might get a move to 6. 15 is my target. NRG, powerful move. Don't know how far they can take this one. But you can see it's got a big momentum. Look for an additional 5 to 10 points. Nutanix, coming out of a flag here, looks dynamite. My target 75. I love this chart. NTRA, ditto. Pop, rising flag. This one should blow through 100. OCEA, pop wedge, pop coil. Has to hold, in my opinion, 3.5. What I need is a move over 5 with energy, then you target 6.5 and 8. OCOL, beautiful rising channel, currently consolidating. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. A fifth wave might get you to 15, 16. OPRA, base breakout, a little wedgy here, looking for 18 and 20. ORIC in a current bull wedge, in a beautiful rising channel. My target is 18 and 20. ORN, the junior engineering firm, breaks out of a base, coils, and it runs up to the target. So 1, 2, 3, looking for 4 and 5 to get me to 11. PI impinge broke out in October. We gave you a swing on it when it was trading around, I think it was 59.75. Well, it's more than doubled by getting up to 132. Doesn't look done yet. 140 is your target. Palantir now consolidating in that range for about 5 weeks. Needs to make a move. Long-term chart is excellent. Your targets are 28 and 32. Pubmatic popped out of a base, formed a wedge, and popped out of that, now forming a flag. If I can get over Friday's high above 24, 26, 7, and 30 may be targets. Pixelworks broke out of a base, formed a wedge, and popped now as a rising flag. We might see a move to 4 and 5 on this one. Quick, tech traded swing when it popped here, moved up steadily from 14.75 to 21, and now the pullback. I like the look of this for more upside, 22 and 25 targets. RNA has been phenomenal since it broke out last November, and it's been moving steadily from the 6 range to the 26 range. Now flagging and looking higher, 31.2 target. Root, maybe the swing trade of the year, popped. We put a swing on it the next day at 14.75. It made it up to a mere 60, 58, or 300% in 2 weeks. That's one of the best trades we've ever made, quite frankly, and it's still holding up. Shipper, Starball Carriers, coming out of a base, it appears, and if it does, high 20s, low 30s are targets. SCCO, this is Southern Copper, an all-time high, I believe. Yep, it was reached on Friday, just marginally at 105. Take a look at this pop from 79 to 105 in 2 weeks. As copper breaks out, so does the price of this stock. Seed, long downtrend, nice spike recovery and a falling wedge right to support, held it. It's moving up now. This stock looks like it's stair-stepping its way higher. Now I'm looking for a move to test that spike high, 4.5. And then we're looking at 5.25.5 and 6.75, 7. I'm serious about those being targets. The measured move gets you up there. All it needs is volume, as you know. SARA, pop, wedge, pop, falling wedge, pop, longer coil, breakout, and now a massive coil, which tells me 12 is your target. Sweet Greens really has had a big move since it broke out here. I believe on earnings has gone nothing but higher since then. And it's broken out above key resistance, and now might be headed into the 30 and 35 range eventually. Semiconductor SGH got hammered in October, I believe on earnings. It's come right back in the rising channel, all the way from 13 to 27. There's some key resistance ahead of 29.5. That's your near-term target. SIG has been vertical, except for Friday when it just stalled, which is normal after a big move. But eventually I can see $11. Solid Biosciences, breakaway, wedge, pop, coil, pop, flag, and then look at this thing. If this thing gets over 14.75, my targets are 19 and 22. A big move on Friday. SMLP sold one of the divisions for like $625 million. We broke it out of a big base on record volume, and I can now see the stock moving to the low 30s. SONO bottomed in October, ran up and coiled for 2 months, popped and flagged for 2 months. Made it for prime time, I think, 22-year target. SPIR broke out with amazing volume, had an inside day on Wednesday and got hammered Thursday on a secondary. I think an overreaction, quite frankly. A little bounce on Friday. Love to see it not take 11 out. The drop dead stop is 10.40, then 10.25 in that range. If it recovers, resistance is 14, 16, and 19. STIM, pop, wedge, and pop now flagging. Next target 5. SWBI, what a move this had here, I believe, on earnings. And now a rising flag that tells me it's not done either. I'm looking for 19 and then 21 at SWBI. Low price talk, one of the better looking low price stocks out there, in my opinion. It's popped to 360 on Friday. This is the highest level we've seen on talk since back in 21. Once he gets above 4, my next target, I'm looking for 5.75. Junior, this is a cannabis stock that I've been told is the best in class, but I love the chart. That's why I'm showing it to you. Breakout, wedge, pop. Target, 17. TCRX, breaks out of a coil on Friday and may run, targeting 9 now. Teva, beautiful rising channel, and looks like it's extending. Your next target, 16 and 17. TPC breaks out of a beautiful base with a breakaway gap, and now it's rising, targeting 16 going forward. TripAdvisor, pop coil, pop ascending coil, pop another coil. And it looks to me like 30 is coming up. Uber, I've been long this stock and as a swing from way back at 29. It's made it up to low 80s, 82. I said back then this is a $78 stock. It might be 100. Now I still believe that. Looking for 90 and 100. Vico breaks out of a wedge and has a beautiful long-term rising pattern. And maybe headed for mid-40s. VERI exploded last week and had a particularly nice day on Friday, up another 33%. Targets are 6 and 8. VINC, long-term breakaway move, and then a pullback. This one needs to get back above 760 without breaking down under 440. Vista, oil and gas stock with an impeccable chart and getting near its target of 46. Vital Farms breaks out of a big base and is moving. I'm now looking for a move to there. My target is 25.6. Viking exploded. Now, you know, this is one of our best swings as well this year, as it went from 38 to 99. Now, what I'm seeing here is a bull coil. Stay tuned for another retest of 99 and then above. BRT, beautiful rising channel, has gone from 12 to 82 and change in the last year. It's overbought, but it's got a great momentum, target 100. VST, similar stock, accelerating now, has run just in the last month from 40 to 70. XPO Logistics and a beautiful bull flag. I think it breaks out and runs to 150. And finally, Zixi, which I told you about several times in the last year or two, has recently run from the October low around 7 and doubled to 14, but maybe a takeout, we shall see. I'll look at some box of shorts and we'll be done. Here's the list of stocks I'm watching on the short side. You can see that CIR broke a massive top, came down hard, but it's forming a bear flag, and if it breaks there, we may be headed to mid-70s. First target is 100, and then 85 and 75. CEIX, head and shoulder top breakdown, snap back to the neckline, and pullback. Not so sure on this one. The negative technicals have me sticking in, but don't want to stay too long if it doesn't work. INMD, breakdown, large bear flag that broke down and retested. Now it's pressing key support. A takeout of this level right here, and this could drop hard into low teens. ADSK, is this a left shoulder, head, right shoulder? It looks like it could be, but it's not a neck, head and shoulder until it breaks 246. If it does that, 226 and 200 are targets. AEHR remains in a bearish trend, and it's been a tech trader short suggestion since 30. It's made it down into the 14 range and continues to look like it could be a $10, $11 stock. Akamai, big uptrend, broken with a bear flag. We went tech trader swing short, came down to test support. It's got to break that. Your stop's over 114, 113. The target's at 1012, 95 or less. AMN, massive top broken, rising wedge. I said that looks like a short. It got hammered, and now it's wedging again. Target, 49.50. ATGE came down hard and forming a bear wedge, or bear coil. If this coil breaks to the downside, we're looking at low 40s. Same with Crown Holdings. Head and shoulder top breakdown and run back to the neckline. If it fails here, 69 and 62 are targets. CMT breaks down, has been forming a multi-month consolidation. Wait for this to break under 1790 first, and then your targets are 16 and 14. EXPE broke down, has got a bear coil as well. You have to wait for this one to break first. Any move under, say, 131 could yield 120 and 105.6. Fluence. Looks like a massive head and shoulder type top. Breaks down and forms a bear wedge. Breaks down again, but snaps back. Retesting resistance right here. Fox Factory. Hammered, Rising wedge, we said that's a short. That was at 69. It drops precipitously in one day down to 44 and bounced around. It's got a bear coil again. I don't know what's going on with this stock, but I can tell you technically, it looks like the possibilities of at least a move down towards 40s are doable. LITE, not so sure. Looks like a head and shoulders, but it's a little slower than I wanted to see. The cover on this one would be over 53 and change, but below 45, the stock could get hammered to the high 30s and mid 30s. New York Times came down hard, forming a bear coil. I like this for a short to 40 and 35. Qualis broke down, formed a wedge, and is getting weaker. Anything underneath the 159 area, and we might start to see 148 and 135. Sentinel-1 breaks down and forms a bear flag. It looks negative to me. I think it goes to 18 and change, maybe 15 and change. TWO broke down with a gap, kept dropping down, and snapped back to retest resistance. If it fails here, 141, 133, 120 are targets. Yelp broke a big top, head and shoulder pattern, breakaway gap, and that's a bear flag, folks, targeting 35 and 31. And finally, Zscaler may have broken its channel, and it's getting very weak in here. Look at the underlying technicals. If this fails here, we might see a move down into the 165 and even 140 range. Folks, that's an exhaustive look at the longs, the shorts, the underlying technicals, the major ETFs we follow, and a good review for you guys to sink your teeth into. Please review this a couple times and be prepared for next week with your stops, targets, and some of your ideas that you may be interested in. For now, this is HB out. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, everybody.